to say here. Yes. For a witness, even before appearing before us, to give us a lengthy lecture about hearsays and say that what we are doing here, we are purporting to do the things that we're doing here. We are purporting. And to allow this witness to write to the speaker, where is even the protocol of writing to the speakers of the houses? Once we have issued the summons, and the Constitution allows us that we can summon anybody, whether in plenary or in committee, to come for us. Now, how is it that a witness decides, therefore, with raises upon a stool and decides to address the presiding officer of this house and lectures him accordingly? And this witness is reminding us of the traditions and the culture that we should adopt when we deal with these matters.
You made the point.
Now, the last point I want to make, Mr. Speaker, sir. The last point I want to make, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is the first of the issues that I've seen since we changed the standing orders. If we allow this unaddressed, then the executive or anybody else under whom we supervise will have the latitude, because there is something called precedence. I know the witness wants us to talk about the traditions. He also knows about something called precedence. If we allow him to go with this unattended, then of course we have lost our value in holding these people to account. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that there is a disorder in the House, and until this disorder has been dealt with by getting this insubordinate witness, this very insubordinate witness, well, not hostile. Hostile will give me problems, but insubordinate to this House. That must be taken out before we can go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, order. Indeed, I found, as your speaker, the content of the letter read by the majority leader strange. And this goes majority leader, informal cabinet ministers, that they come to answer questions guided by you as the majority leader, who is the nexus between this House and the executive, and writing to Mr. Speaker after he has given direction is inadvisable. So going to the future, you may need to communicate to all cabinet secretaries on how to engage the House, and more particularly, once the chair has given direction on the matter, no minister has any right to give value judgment on that direction. Because what the content of that letter is giving value judgment on the direction of the chair. It's out of order, and to cut a long story short, Minister, you will be required to rescind in totality the contents of that letter, tender an apology to the House, then we move on with answering the questions that are before us. Go ahead, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members of this very august House, let me, Mr. Speaker, from the outset, make it absolutely succinctly and unambiguously clear that I subject myself to the authority and oversight of this House in totality. That should not be in doubt whatsoever, Honorable Speaker. Let me also make it clear that the correspondence that has been referenced here was authored and conveyed in good faith, and I would apologize unreservedly if in any way that letter has created...
Don't give a conditional apology, Minister. Just cut a long story short. An apology should be unequivocal and clear.
Mr. Speaker.
Cut the long story short. rescind the contents thereof, apologize to the House, we do business. There are a lot of bills pending after this.
Mr. Speaker, may I therefore, with a lot of respect, withdraw that correspondence and unreservedly tender an apology to the Honorable House.
Thank you.
May I proceed, sir?
Let the Majority Leader read out the questions, and then you can proceed to answer. And in your questions, members, those chips on the correspondence will lie where they fell. I will not allow any one of you to go back to it. Deal with the questions on how our elites are being dealt with, how they are being managed, and how the issues came to this House.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will guide that and I will proceed to read out the questions as they are listed on the order paper.